And later, let's start it. गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गणेश शॉट. गणेश शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है. What's happening in Pakistan? Asim Munir is praying for the 27th Amendment. He's planned and he's put it in motion. Why does he want this 27th Amendment? To establish a constitutional dictatorship. It's a new way of doing things. Look at it the way he's gone about for the past 2 years. Right? He first, May 9, all that nonsense which he started, that mutiny and all, instigated by him. Now it's very clear. That gave him a chance to cleanse the army. His own stables he cleared first. Then he put the biggest opposition leader in Pakistan, the most popular opposition leader, in jail. Second, he's right. Then he held elections and manipulated the elections in a manner that there was only one victor, Asim Munir. And he gave power to a cabal. I'll call it a cabal at best, right? Which operated under his thumb. And no one in this cabal is dispensable. They can be toppled anytime. If you see the Pakistan parliament, no one has a majority. It's a coalition. And it's a shaky coalition. But that shaky coalition is held by Asim Munir. Because he's got the chabuk with everyone. As a result, it moved ahead. Then, once his power was consolidated through the parliament by proxy, the hybrid form, and you saw the joker, Shahbaz Sharif, going everywhere and licking everyone's bum. The thing came to the next level, the 26th Amendment. That was the next part of the story. The 26th Amendment changed the constitution. Then he started changing the constitution. The 26th Amendment gave certain powers of the judiciary where his rule cannot be challenged. But that didn't prove enough. So now the 27th Amendment. Understand, he doesn't want to become a dictator. He doesn't want to become a dictator. He doesn't want to impose martial law. He wants to rule constitutionally by framing a constitution which will keep him in power for life. And that is why he's got himself the rank of the field marshal. The 27th Amendment is all about the field marshal's rank and legalizing it. It's going to be very interesting. So I thought we must all understand what this 27th Amendment is and what are the issues involved. How did this 27th Amendment come about? No one knew about it. No one in Pakistan knew that there's a thing called the 27th Amendment going. Asim Munir went to USA, got himself in the good books of Trump. He did this, he did that, all. And all this while, like a duck underwater, he was paddling. And he kept this story going internally. They made a draft. Asim Munir and his henchmen have made a draft and given it to their Tattu, Shahbaz Sharif, who then sent it to Bilawal Bhutto for consultation and agreement. See, here comes the problem, or how to get over it. Shahbaz Sharif on his own doesn't have the majority to push it through the parliament because you need 2/3 majority, constitutional amendment. It's almost the same as in our parliament. That was cloned after all, right? But then the the disadvantage of creating a coalition which will function on the basis of the army is that you need the entire coalition to be taken into, on your side for this. And at this time, everyone will vie for his pound of flesh. So gives it to Bilawal Bhutto. 4 days back, Bilawal Bhutto gives out this tweet. And that's when the cat gets out of the bag. Till then, no one knew that of 27th Amendment, no one smelt it. No one knew what was happening. Ye Pakistan hai. He says, look, PMLN delegation led by CM Shahbaz Sharif and Asif Ali Zardari and myself. So all three are in the thick of things. Requested PPP support in passing. Sharif called on Asif Ali Zardari, requested PPP support in passing 27th Amendment. Even he says nothing much. It says proposals include setting up constitutional court, executive magistrates, transfer of judges, and removal of protection of provincial share in NFC. These are the muddas. We'll talk of it. Amending Article 243. That's what has set people in Pakistan talking. And we'll see what Article 243 is. It's about the control of the army. Control by civilians over the army. Return of education and population planning to the federation and break the deadlock on appointment of ECP, PPP, CEC, all that, chief election commissioners and all. It will be held on 6th November, today. All this is going to happen today. On return of President of Pakistan from Doha to decide the party policy. This, bang, it's gone up. Now this chap, Mustafa Nawaz Cocker, what does he say? The 27th Amendment core aim is to tweak Article 243, which deals with the armed forces control and command, as well as appointment of service chiefs. Everything else is just noise, open to negotiations and withdrawal. What is not withdrawal is that. So we'll have to see where this whole story is going. We have to understand it. India can't stop it. Let's be very clear. Neither should we attempt. Let them do what they want. But we need to understand this. What is the 27th Amendment all about, mota mota? And this is from their, sites I put together. It is first restructuring the judiciary. So in that, what is to happen? A new federal constitutional court will be incorporated. So that will be alongside the Supreme Court. Hitherto it was part of the Supreme Court. No, but this is now separate from the Supreme Court. And any problem with the constitution that will be interpreted or go to that. And the reason, I'll tell you why. So if you want to challenge the hybrid government, the constitutionality of the hybrid government, it has to now go to the Constitutional Court, not the Supreme Court. And the Constitutional Court is being pitched at par with the Supreme Court, or probably higher than the Supreme Court. The second is altering judicial appointments and tenure. It changes, such as retiring age for judges of the Constitutional Court to 68. And it grants more authority to the federal government in transfer of judges. So Shahbaz Sharif and gang will now have the leeway to appoint judges of their choice, and they can be transferred. That's the thing. A chap who is not willing to toe the government line can be transferred out. That's the interesting part. What's more transferred? He can be transferred to a lower court. He can be transferred from a higher court to a district court. So any judge who is not toeing the government line In the constitutional court, the government can throw him out. He can be demoted to the Supreme Court, or he can even be demoted to a high court, or he can be demoted to a district court. And his retirement normally from 65 has gone up to 68. So they choose a judge who is their favorite, who's about to retire, and 3 years more he will serve in this constitutional thing. Complete match fixing. Restoring executive magistrates. It restores the system of executive magistrates. So executive magistrates are the ones deployed by the government. It's not come through the system. So that means the government now controls, the executive controls the magistrates at all level. So any level you want to scotch a case, all you have to do is put a judge of your choice there and tell him this is what you have to do, end of story. Then, of course, the hidden agenda, formalizing the rank of field marshal. The amendment seeks to give legal status to the military rank of field marshal within the constitution, potentially to extend the tenure of the current chief of the army, General Asif Munir. This is what has come out so far. But his extension is not a big deal. Already 2 to 5 years is there. See, there is no legal framework for the rank of field marshal in Pakistan. Because why? The last field marshal was Ayub Khan. This is a guy after so many years, he's now after 50, 60 years, he's being made a field marshal. There's no legal status. As per legal status, he can the field marshal be the chief of army staff? What is his legal rank? Now there will be a lot of people within the army who will say, yeah, if this field marshal is there, I don't get to be the chief. All those things. And there is a problem within the Pakistan army at this point of time because people are rebelling. They'll not talk openly, but they are there. They're already politicking. If mera number kab aayega? If this fellow continues, a lot of chaps will retire. And their careers will go for a toss. And they're all at the mercy of this fellow. There is resentment. It's not as if everyone in Pakistan army is happy with Syed and Asim Munir. Now, we have to see what they mean by legalizing this rank of field marshal. But my guess is this is the thing which will establish the constitutional dictatorship. Some time back in Pakistan, they tried to get Asif Ali Zardari to retire or resign. In which case, when he was made field marshal, he could have become the president. And then he'll rule as a president with the prime minister. So constitutionally, he's a president and the chief of army staff, and he'll continue. That Asif Ali Zardari didn't agree. He managed to get out of that trap. Now, constitutionally, this man is going to get a role to play. He will get placed somewhere between a president and a prime minister and in this new hybrid government. This new hybrid governance system, the field marshal will be part of the governance system. That's the way I look at it. So this hybrid system will get legalized. And he will have a say as a field marshal, because the field marshal, yeah. So he'll have a say in running the country. That's what I feel will get injected. And no one is talking about it. Tenure and all is irrelevant. Legalizing that fellow for life. If he is legalized for life, he'll say, for life I'm the chief till the time I choose to retire. So these options are this between being chief for life as a field marshal or get a role in this. That's what we'll have to see. It'll come out within a matter of time. It will come out, and this won't be negotiable. The rest, everything will be negotiable. But then you have to go back. What is this 26th Amendment? Why did they have to change it? This is what I've written here. Have a look at it. The 26th Amendment. First issue of 26th Amendment was judicial appointments. Now, earlier, before this 26th Amendment, this was early in the year, there was a judicial commission. Judicial Commission of Pakistan was appointing people to the Supreme Court. Earlier also it was there. But largely that Judicial Commission was of Supreme Court judges. What this amendment did was to get more people from the parliament to be part of that. And the government and the parliament got the control of who was to be appointed to the Supreme Court for judicial appointments. Then they capped the Chief Justice tenure. They capped the Chief Justice of Pakistan only to have 3 years or until they reach 65. Okay. And then the Chief Justice of Pakistan could only be appointed through a special committee, parliamentary committee. Right? And that parliamentary committee could appoint this Chief Justice from one of the 3 senior most Supreme Court judges. Earlier it was the senior most guy. By seniority principle, that guy is made the Supreme Court Justice. Chief Justice. Or the Chief Justice of Pakistan. This changed that. This happened then. Then they got suo motu powers. Right? Right. Now the suo motu powers took power away from these judges. Okay? Individual Supreme Court judges could take action on matters. Procedure and all could be done by the Judicial Committee. But the suo motu powers of the judges were supreme. And then in all this, they got in the constitutional bench. What is the constitutional bench? The constitutional bench of the Supreme Court were a set of 3 judges who could hear, only they could hear the matters pertaining to the constitution. Any constitutional case had to come to them. So the Supreme Court functioned with one lot, the majority acting under normal land, finance, crime, ये वो Supreme Court में जाता था. But constitutionally, no Supreme Court judge could hear constitutional cases. Any constitutional case had to be heard by a constitutional bench, but that bench had to be within the Supreme Court. This they found difficult because people have gone to the court. They have challenged in the Supreme Court the validity of the constitutional bench itself. They said this is not as per constitution. So that is, this 26th Amendment has put them in a logjam. So there is no more a constitutional bench. It's going to be the 26th Amendment, it's going to be a constitutional court. Actually, in the 26th Amendment, Asim Munir wanted to have a constitutional court. But horse trading, he couldn't push it through politically. So he got that constitutional bench. And now salami slicing into the constitutional court or a federal constitutional court. Now this whole story, many people have analyzed it. You go to the YouTube, every Pakistani YouTube today is talking about this only. Every Pakistani is talking about this. I don't know if others in our system are talking about it, but I thought this is very interesting. That's why I picked this up. And let me tell you, I'll give you all such things. I've been tracking this, legal development right from the past 1 year. The moment I saw this, heard this, and saw that, I said, "Yeah, ये दाल में कुछ काला है." So you want something good, interesting? Subscribe to Ghana Shot. So like this video. Right. Anyway, we'll talk of this. Zahid Hussain has written a fantastic op-ed in Dawn. So I read that, and he calls it a contentious amendment. Right. Right. Now, what he says is this proposal envisages wide-ranging changes in the constitution, which I've spoken of. And a part of it is related to further curtailing the independence of the judiciary and ending protection for the provincial share under the National Financial Commission. Now, this I didn't speak of, but it's there in Bhutto's thing. But this is important. And this reverses another amendment of theirs, which I'll talk of. I mean, you have to understand what's happening in Pakistan to deal with it. If there's a weakness, as much as you think Asim Munir is strengthening his case, he is weakening it also. And that's what you have to tap into. When people say, "Sir, what do you do politically?" You can do politically many things, provided you know legally what's happening there. It's not only bloody going and using your army like an idiot here. Okay, that's the first thing. We'll come to this National Financial Commission a little later. Then he says there's a curious provision in the proposal is the alteration of Article 243. Article 243 in the Pakistan Constitution deals with the appointment of chiefs of the armed forces and some other matters related to service structure. So obviously that's going to change. That's what I said, Field Marshal. And more interestingly, no details are available about the amendments except for some broad outlines that were reportedly discussed in a meeting between Prime Minister and PPP leaders. No one is talking about it. The whole matter, it appears, has been going on behind closed doors for months. Lawmakers, even cabinet ministers, appear to be completely in the dark. The draft has come from the army. Of course, Zahid Hussain doesn't talk of the army. If he talks that, he'll be killed. Zahid Hussain said it's come from elsewhere. Elsewhere, kahan? It doesn't come from heaven. Yeah. It comes from the army. And this is similar to what happened in the 26th Amendment. And when the 26th Amendment and the 27th Amendment both were bulldozed through. Same thing is happening now. This is the reality of the hybrid rule, as per him. As per him, now people are talking. People will talk. Okay. Parliament and the cabinet are irrelevant even for critical constitutional matters related to the country's political power structure and the federation. It doesn't matter. There's only one man rule. All these guys are moras, pawns on the chessboard. There is also the question about the objective behind sweeping changes in the constitution. The objectives are very clear. Asim Munir wants to establish a constitutional dictatorship. This is a new word I'm coining. Constitutional dictatorship. We've heard of constitutional democracy. We've heard of a constitutional monarchy. But rarely have we seen anything happening constitutionally where a dictator is, getting into a constitutional dictatorship through parliamentary procedures. You see, the difference between what Asim Munir is doing and what earlier happened, they had 4 dictatorships in Pakistan. Ayub Khan, Ziaul Haq, Yahya Khan, and Pervez Musharraf. In all those cases, they just took over rule as a dictator and suspended the constitution. They just suspended the constitution. Thereafter, it was a hybrid rule. Succession of guys, right up to Rahil Sharif, Jawad, Pasha, and all these guys. Whole lot. They were all hybrid rule. They would pull strings from behind, but they didn't have complete power. This fellow is very clear. He wants to be for life. He wants to be a dictator, but constitutionally. This is the interesting thing. So this is not the end of the story. I expect a 28th Amendment and a 29th Amendment where he'll be dictator for life or president for life or something like that. He has to get it. We'll have to see how it goes. Remember, he's a deceiver. So that's the objective. Which means we have to deal with this fellow for a long time to come, and we have to understand he's a devious guy. Okay, this proposal has been floated when the petition challenging the legality of the 26th Amendment is being heard by the constitutional bench, itself the product of controversial legislation of the Supreme Court. So, like I told you earlier, the 26th Amendment is being challenged. You can't do it. The moment you have a separate constitutional court, which doesn't come under the Supreme Court but is placed above the thing, the Supreme Court is emasculated. You say, yeah, you worry about land, you're worried about land cases, criminal cases, EA cases, wo cases, and all that. Anything else you worry. But anything to do with the Constitution, the way the Constitution is, do everything, come to the Constitutional Court. Now, in the Constitutional Court, you're going to have your own judges, everything. And if the judge doesn't listen to the Constitutional Court, now the powers are being given as per the Constitution to throw that guy away. In any case, Asim Munir has got control over Shabaz Sharif and Bilawal Bhutto. That's what he says. A separate constitutional court would take away whatever remains of the power of the apex court over constitutional matters. And then, more contentious proposal is the provision of transfer of high court judges to other regional courts, demotion, executive transfer. Proposed changes in the allocation of financial resources to the provinces under the National Financial Commission will ignite a highly explosive issue. I'll talk of this. What is this? This is devolution of powers. You see, people don't understand what's happening. In our states, we have a state list, concurrent list, and a central list. And the state list is not negotiable by the center. These chaps did something like that. Now he wants to reverse it. So the states won't have money to do what they're supposed to do. It's absolutely division of resources. So the taxes collected by the states can be transferred to the center as per this, which means the states can be made useless. So it's the authoritarian system coming in legally. And I will touch on this a little. I'll touch on this a little later now. Yeah. This National Financial Commission, which I've put here, National Financial Commission. I'll make it a little bigger so that you can see. National Financial Commission. What is it all about? It is a rollback on the 18th Amendment. Now we've spoken of 26th Amendment, 27th Amendment, now the 18th Amendment. This 18th Amendment was passed in 2010. It significantly devolved power from the federal government to the provinces. It also involved removing the president's powers to dissolve the parliament, enhancing provincial financial powers, and reassigning legislative powers such as education, health to the provinces. This safeguard was introduced precisely to prevent any future dictator or even a democratic government from arbitrarily cutting the provincial share. The moment you do rollback of this, okay, the president can't dissolve the parliament. Interesting. Who will then dissolve the parliament? This parliament can't be dissolved. Suppose tomorrow a situation arises where Asif Ali Zardari feels he can dissolve the parliament, he can't. if this amendment goes through. And then the provinces can be starved of their money. And this is completely aimed at Balochistan and KPK. They don't have money as it is. Now you take away whatever money they have. Where will they go? It also creates space for rebellion. Yeah, as the 27th Amendment is being pushed forward, it seems that the 18th Amendment may finally end up on the chopping block. So it's not only the 18th Amendment, which is so you have an amendment which nullifies the amendment earlier carried out for devolution of powers. And to prevent a dictator from doing exactly that is what this fellow is doing. You have to understand this. This might not be a sexy subject, but this has got you have to understand what is happening. But there are other issues. It's created dissent in the army, navy, and the air force. All this is being done when Afghanistan is on fire. What are the problems with India? There are internal problems of KPK and Balochistan. Pakistan is doing an external balancing between USA and China on its soil. And then the economy is in a duff. And this fellow all these problems are not being attended to. What is being attended to? Asim Munir's power. That's primal. I'll talk of something else a little later. I read this article by Ashraf Jahangir Qazi. He was one of their ambassadors, a respected guy, old man. He's absolutely anti-Indian. Let me be very clear. But he talks sense if you read. He talks sense for Pakistan. So old, no one dares talk. So he's spoken about Afghanistan. And that's where a very interesting article in Dawn came 2 days back or yesterday, but I read it. He talks like this. He says Praetorian elite capture has been primarily responsible for Pakistan's tragedy. Who's this elite? The army and this Bhutto Zardari and Shabaz Sharif and gang and those 20 odd families which control Pakistan. Now he says there is something very interesting. He says if you have to undo this Praetorian elite capture, it will need a whole of the nation undertaking. So people have to rise and protest. A mass uprising if you have to undo this. Otherwise, it will continue. Then he says the likelihood of much of it happening appears non-existent today. So in his view, Pakistan will not rise against this. They'll have to continue in this state of affairs. Pakistan is being progressively internalized by ruling elites and the middle class intelligentsia, whose attitudes and choices determine the fate of nations. So there's a pervasive control of people who matter. If tomorrow the government comes and gets hold of me and ensures that I can't speak, you will not know anything. You will not know that we need so many aircraft, so many this, all that, and why the government is doing this, why the government should be doing something else. So there's no talk. I mean, we don't have much to discuss. We have a lot of other issues, but not these fundamental issues. Because the fundamental issues have not been addressed in Pakistan, Pakistan can't progress. Please understand it. So it will remain where it is, not because of other things, because fundamentally the power play has never stopped in Pakistan for the past 80 years. Because everything in Pakistan or anywhere devolves into politics grassroots level. A refusal to accept these realities is itself a form of complicity. They are not interested. Asim Munir is not interested in economy. वो तो करते रहो. जो पैसा आएगा, I will increase my own power. Right? The only view is worse. The only worse view is the assumption that the nation will somehow survive, despite its wretched condition. because its nuclear weapon status guarantees the rest of the world has a stake in its survival. So, till such time Pakistan has nuclear weapons, people will pay it. And now they want to upgrade it because they're doing testing. This is what Trump has said. And today evening we'll talk of it. In the Three Good Generals, with Rajiv Narayanan won't be there, might not be there, but Dushyant and I will talk of it today evening. And then Pakistan is following a self-defeating Afghan and strategic policies. He says they're driving this set of policies are driving Afghanistan into the arms of India and setting up a dangerous nutcracker, a two-front situation for itself. To distract domestic political attention from the grim state of affairs in the country. This is where they're heading. And there is no way away from it. But this is the story of Pakistan. But Hassan Munir wants power. It doesn't matter him. Like I always say, when you read all this, that's how you realize Pakistan doesn't mind losing a war. Military loss is irrelevant. You guys are happy, even some of our ministers, even some of our senior ministers. I find it very funny. हम दोबारा ये करेंगे वो करेंगे यार बेवकूफ आदमी क्यों कर रहे हो उसको कुछ मत करो यार the where to hit him is somewhere else. Yeah. He says, Ashraf Zahangir Qazi, instead of a big brother policy towards Afghanistan, it should consider a policy of strategic generosity. Is it feasible in Pakistan? Strategic generosity? Strategic generosity is what we do with Nepal and Bhutan and Sri Lanka. We used to do it with Bangladesh also. This is what we are doing with Afghanistan. Is it within the capability of Pakistan to do all this? No. Why? Because the economy is on a limb. And this fellow is praying only for the 27th Amendment to establish a constitutional dictatorship. Understand this. So what's happening in Pakistan, and I'm sure later in this week or maybe by end, this will come to the boil. Why? There's a fundamental thing, because end of the year, end of this month, this fellow's tenure has to increase or decrease. He's not interested in increasing is not an issue. वो तो शहबाज शरीफ को बोलेगा तो the way शहबाज शरीफ went and licked Trump, he licked this fellow also. And also remember, when Shahbaz Sharif went to China, he went to USA. This fellow went Saudi Arabia. Shahbaz Sharif is the front face. Real power is here. And now he is legalizing it. So we'll have to see how this decrepit nation is going to progress. And that, because unless we understand that, we will not understand how to deal with Pakistan. Right. On Pakistan, I have one more issue. And that is, we're now going to talk of 7 lean years of Pakistan's agriculture. Because this is the Achilles heel of Pakistan. It's not as if Pakistan will have only 7 lean years. I got this from here. Today morning, I read this article. 7 lean years with a question mark, Pakistan's agricultural crisis revealed. So there is a huge agricultural crisis in Pakistan as of today. This article in Dawn. Very good analysis. Okay. Where does this whole story of 7 lean years come? This is somewhere written in Quran, some story, ye, wo, this author has quoted. He says there's a king who dreamt something. He says the king said one day, I dreamt of 7 fat cows eaten up by 7 skinny ones, and 7 green ears of grain, and 7 others dry. So he called all his Jyotish and said, "O chiefs, tell me the meaning of my dream, if you can, and interpret my dreams." जो मैंने ख्वाब देखा है, अब बताओ. And they said, look, this indicates 7 years of famine. So that's why they said 7 lean years. There's an agricultural crisis in Pakistan. The chap who's written this, he says, look, this is telling you about the famine which is going to hit Pakistan. Forget all the extra, hyperbole of famine. But Pakistan has a agricultural crisis. Now, let me explain this to you. This is interesting because I think I'll have to get out of this. And give me 1 minute. I'll get back to you. Because I made a mistake in this thing, I will have to do a little adjustment, and I'll keep talking to you, and I'm adjusting the my slide so that you get the right thing. Right. 1 minute. Yeah, we are on. Okay. Let's get back to the slides, and I will now show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for the thing, my mistake. Now, in this article, he talks of the shrinking farm and a crisis of fragmentation. It looks like a complicated graph, isn't it? But it's not so. I'll explain to you. It's a very imaginative graph, uh, which you must see fully, and I'll explain to you. Now, look at this. These are the provinces: Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab, Sindh. Okay? And of course, Niche Baluchistan. This is the province. Okay. So, yeah, this is Baluchistan. This is the number of males who are in farm, the farm sector. And this is the number of females, so little in the farm sector. And this is the size of the farm. Okay? This is the size of the farm. And when you go to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the thing is, most of them are from males. They know, right? And this farm sizes, many are under 1 acre. This many are 1.5 to 2.5 acres. This is 2.5 to 5 acres. And above 5 is this many. So what do you see in the land, in each uh, agricultural land in each province? The number of males and the number of females in each province who own land and do agriculture, and the size here. Okay, the size here. So if you go from here and see, it will tell you how many people are under the whole, how big their farms are. Basically, you have to understand how big the farms are. Okay, now this is a crisis. What is the first part of the crisis? Look at it. In Punjab's most fertile districts, a farmer might inherit 3 acres. Okay. His grandfather, 2 generations ago, might have worked the same land as a 12-acre plot. The subdivision amongst heirs with each generation has carved the family holding into pieces that can barely sustain them, let alone generate profit. It's very simple. My grandfather had 12 acres of land. Assuming he had 2 sons, each son would get 6 acres of land. Assuming that these both chaps had two sons, they would get 3 acres of land. This is the assumption of this analysis. So you're assuming that every acre, every generation, the amount of land holding decreases by half. But it's actually not so. It's even worse because Muslims don't stop with 2 sons. So, but he says the important thing is if your land holding is less than 3 acres, it is not profitable to you. And today's land holdings, as you see in this, the bulk of land holdings is here. More than 60% of land holdings in Pakistan are less than 3 acres. It can't be modernized. It does not generate revenue. You don't have enough capability to generate your own water. Yeah, so land consolidation never had. It's a fundamental thing. In Pakistan, there were never land reform. Land consolidation never had. Never cooperated. Nothing. There are only few people who control big lands. The arm guy is going down, down, down. Okay. And then the census shows an overwhelming share of farms are now under 5 acres. This is also optimistic. The overwhelming share of farms are now under 3 acres. He says this 5 acre threshold is official because it is roughly the minimum size needed for a farm to afford or efficiently utilize a tractor and other modern machinery. Now, which means that all Pakistani farms are prehistoric in nature. They're not modernized, no implementation, no mechanization. This leaves the majority of farmers trapped and dependent on costly rentals or inefficient manual labor. Which means what? That the farms struggle to survive. And agriculture is very important. It is 25% of Pakistan's GDP and it employs 60% of people of Pakistan. If that is in a crisis, 60% of people in Pakistan are in a crisis today. And this is not going to improve. Why have I brought this? What is this connection with that chap becoming the dictator, a constitutional dictator? This constitutional dictator is allowing the country to rot. There's no talk of all this in that fellow's thinking. So, will that mass uprising happen? We don't know. Everyone thinks that there'll be a mass uprising in Pakistan, but it has never happened. That's a contradiction of Pakistan we have to live with. If you want to change the character of Pakistan, you have to trigger that mass uprising. And how do you trigger it? One is that problem of constitutional amendment which is happening, and the Achilles heel is this. No, in the entire Pakistan, female ownership of land is almost zilch. Female agricultural household heads are less than 6%. 6% is in these areas. That means in these areas, 100% of land holding is by males. Because in Pakistan, I mean, this is normal. In Pakistan, land by transfer goes from father to son to son. The women are not given land. End of story. So, as a result, 50% of a population is being sidelined. But interestingly, 70% of the women in Pakistan work on agriculture. So they are being trapped in labor. That's what he says in this as invisible people. That's one. This crisis is not going away, it's going to worsen. The most common crop in Pakistan, you have a look at this, is wheat. Red wheat. It's all wheat, right? Some rice in the areas. Okay. Then some other crops, these are green ones, and maize, the dark green here, maize. That's it. Most of it is wheat. Now, wheat is water dependent, and water is what they don't have. That is where IWT comes into play. Agriculture is their Achilles heel, and the Achilles heel of agriculture is water. And then he talks of 7 deadly signs of these lean years or this agricultural crisis in this article. Okay. The first is fragmentation. The Pakistani farms are so small that they're not profitable and they'll never become big. To some extent, we have equivalent problems, but we are getting over it in a different manner. Water scarcity is a great problem. They don't have water. Either the groundwater is depleted, and the canal system is aged. They don't have water reservoir. That I've spoken of in great detail. There's a climate vulnerability. As the climate warms up, their wheat crops will go down. Because wheat needs cold winters, especially when it comes up to ripening. March, February, March. Why? Look, I know this because I've served in Punjab, and when you speak to the farmers there, you will understand this. It needs little cool time for the wheat to grow well. As climate change is going up, that problem is there. That problem is there for us also, but we have diversified, but they are not. Then, of course, gender invisibility. Females are taken out of the system completely. Youth exodus. People who don't have land, they're running away from Pakistan. We've heard of illegal immigration going to all over the place and running away. They'll do whatever they have to do outside Pakistan. As a result, people working in the land are reducing. Technology gap. Why is the technology gap? If your farms are so small, you can't apply technology there. And Pakistan doesn't have the technology. When your government is on survival mode or on hybrid mode, and the dictator wants to be a dictator, he's not bothered about all this nonsense. And what's more, of all this, please understand, Pakistan is drawing water from Indus at the cost of their own agriculture. Not Pakistan. Pakistan Army is drawing 7 canals from the Indus Basin. It's appropriated for itself thousands of acres of land, and it has gone into corporate farming and selling it away to people. So there's a crisis engendered by the army into their own agriculture. That doesn't come in. If he writes this chap will be killed. So there's a problem there. And of course, the Aarti gap. Aarti is, even we have these problems in Punjab's middleman problem. Farmer to market, we don't have this connect. Whereas in many states, they've got over this. Many states with this thing. It's a political issue. That's where the farm laws were got stuck and all that. That's a different story for us. But we're still progressive. Yeah, incidentally, in that it's a trap. But the eighth trap, the eighth deadly sign is the army, which has appropriated a whole lot, thousands of acres of land in Cholistan desert, where water is being brought into Cholistan through canals from the existing system and corporatized through the SIFC, Special Investment Financial, Council, and that is the army through the FWO, that is Frontier Works Organization, because any big deal is being done by the Frontier Work Organization. Even the deal between USA and Pakistan on those mines at Rekodik is through the Frontier Work Organization. It is the Frontier Work Organization which is pushing the Pasni case. Where there's money, it's the FWO. So these chaps are looting and sustaining themselves through all this, leaving 220 plus million or 253, whatever the population is, at the mercy of nature and God. And 27th Amendment is only for themselves. Finally, in this article, he says the 7 lean years is not a future prophecy, but a current reality. The question is no longer if there is a crisis. The crisis is there today. Okay, but whether Pakistan will use this clear warning to build resilience or wait for the dream to become an irreversible reality. This irreversible reality, I guess, in the next 2 years will happen. If Pakistan continues like this problem will be irreversible. In fact, my way of looking at it is already irreversible. It will only get hastened. So if I have to think strategically, I have to see how to hasten this. I have to hasten this politically. Look, this is statecraft. I have to use 7 lean years of Pakistan's agriculture. If Pakistan has to, you know, be kept under check, don't get after its army. Don't. I mean, you can get after its army. You have to get after it legally. You have to do lawfare against it. But at the core, it is this. I hope you people have enjoyed. I've given 2 presentations today, and I'll split it and put it out in a few days. If you liked it, give it to your friends. I'm sure they'll enjoy it. And also subscribe to Ghana Shot and join me as members. I'll be more than happy. Right? Yeah. Thanks a lot for joining me as a Kanra Makan. Kanra Makan. Thanks a lot for joining as a member. It's great. And I do hope more join in as members and continue. Yeah, great explanation. Thank you, Ramakrishna. Sounds like Pakistan Army is a resident British Raj sitting military. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay, now let me see from the top and how many. Shouldn't be an issue getting it done in a. Oh, he'll do that. That's not a problem. Amitesh, good morning and Jai Hind. Mrs. Claire, Jai Hind. Yeah, Teja Mysore. Why does Munir even need to hind constitutional dictatorship? He has already all the power and a puppet CM. What more does he need? This is not a problem. If tomorrow constitutionally the judges get up and say this can't be done, he'll be thrown out like Parvez Musharraf. He's very shrewd. Please don't read him. Don't underestimate him. He is also aware of the fact that he is vulnerable. And now he's cementing that through constitutionally. Yeah. Would that not mean losing IMF and World Bank protection? This is precisely why he is doing all this. He is doing it constitutionally. He is not doing anything. It's the parliament which is doing. The president is approving it, and it is consultative. Everything is being done as if it is by the people, by a parliament, elected parliament, and it is convenient. No one will object to it because Trump, he's got Trump's backing. He's doing it only after getting the Trump's backing. Please understand what game he is playing. The way you have to handle this is not through Trump and IMF and all. Get to the people of Pakistan. People of Pakistan is what you have to now hit. Yeah, good morning and yeah, thanks a lot. I don't understand. Pak army has been doing whatever they want for decades now, constitutional or not. Even judges are scared of them. Yeah, that's what I've explained to you. I've explained to you. MV Karan, good morning. Sir, what's the point? The world gives Pak a pass, they get away with bloody murder. This is defeatist. This talking like this is defeatist. Why do we that doesn't because they get away with bloody murder, it doesn't mean that you don't talk of it. It doesn't mean that you don't use this information to do what you want done. Please understand that. Nation building, defending the nation, and progressing the nation is a continuous affair. It is not a one stroke issue. It takes years of patience and dealing with other nations to build your own nation, and especially to handle inimical nations. The inimical nations are a reality, they'll not run away. You can't wish them away. Yeah, Hari Iyer, thanks a lot. Militarycracy ruled by military dictatorship. You can talk all that, but that's not what it is. It is a constitutional dictatorship. Military dictatorship is when the constitution is suspended, not now. Please understand. Yeah, Jai Hind, Akash, how are you? Yesterday you had a very good question. Yeah. Bangkok has so many seaports to make the country stop working. Well, forget Bangkok right now. Will the Pak administration, ISI, and president and Pak army allow Asim Munir to be there? Yeah, they have no choice. They have no choice. Yeah, the foundation for the breakage of Pakistan has been laid with this step. I hope so. It will happen if we play our cards well. Remember, it all depends on how we play our cards. Asim Munir power comes from trap. Yeah, to an extent, you're right, Hasmukh. There's no doubt. Sir, Asim Munir is working on a great showdown with his adversary. Is Munira ready to fight India like Ukraine is fighting Russia? This is the worst thing you can do, Ashish. Fighting with us is the worst thing. We getting involved with a scrap with Pakistan is the worst thing. The way forward with Pakistan, the weak points of Pakistan are its people, water, agriculture. It's constitutional, law. That is what you have to aim. And aggressively. And of course, Afghanistan and Balochistan and KPK. Don't fight them. Yeah, eternally grateful that India has been spared this kind of drama. I agree with you. Yeah, facade of democracy can be let go and Napak will show its true face for everyone to see. Everyone knows it. This is still a facade. It's a constitutional facade where everyone will find it convenient to ignore. That's the problem. Prabhat, namaskar. Shabaz Sharif likes Munira. No, it's the other way around. Yeah, they will spin this dictatorship manipulation to something heavenly and Pak civilians and world will buy it. Yeah, that's the way it is. Okay. Won't this amendment be good for India in the long run? Just see how Xi Jinping keeping power in China. Yeah, I agree with you there. That I have no doubt. That is what I say. Let push Pakistan into a place where it collapses on its own. Let it do what happens to it. Thank you for your analysis. This seems like in another Idi Amin on steroids in the making. Vinash Kale Viprita Buddhi. I agree with you. Yeah. Ashish, I will talk of this business of buying at some point remilitarization. Then isn't it the right time for us to expand our borders to Iran and Afghanistan directly? This is the time for us to do everything indirect, not direct. That's what I will say. Okay, we'll talk. Kiran, I'll talk of this later. Germany, right? Yeah. Then, when you're of an allegedly democratic Islamic nation is rapidly deteriorating to original concept in Islamic Caliphate with Sayyid that it said, yeah, yeah. Sounds like Caesar will be stabbed by Brutus and all the senators. Let's see. We'll know of it shortly, and I'll come back one of these days in the morning to talk of it. Mm. Other military leaders are waiting for Munir to retire and become a pavilion marshal. Yeah, that's there, but he's not interested, no. Sounds like Pakistani. Yeah, we've spoken of this. Munir wanting a constitutional court. Many US puppet allies rely on such games. Thailand, Taiwan, Romania. Now Munir wants it. Yeah, that's how it is. Thank you, General. It's wonderful to hear your thoughts and learn from your analysis. Thanks a lot, Michael. And great presentation. Thank you, DMA. Salute, sir. What if the situation deteriorates to a situation like Sudan or Somalia? Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. You're talking of extreme situation. The problem with Sudan and Sudan, I know Sudan well because I had an officer from Sudan who did long country staff course with me long back, going back to 80s. In fact, I hosted his sister and brother-in-law. His brother-in-law was a foreign service officer. Unfortunately, both of them got killed later. And Salah Ahmed Abbas, very good chap. So the problem in Sudan is Christian and Muslim Nile, uh, and then within the Muslims, a lot of tribes. That's what they're fighting. Then each of them are being backed by different countries. So actually, it's a lot of proxy war going on. Will that happen in Pakistan? I don't know whether we can draw a parallel between what's happening in Sudan and Pakistan. I don't think we are at that stage. When we are at that stage, the difficult thing for us or to handle is the nuclear weapons. Hmm. Today's podcast reminded of the 80s program Krishi Darshan. Unique, and I will rate it as important as the one you gave on Chinese demography and political. Yeah, we have to understand our enemy. As simple as that. I believe fundamentalists control people of Pakistan and always watch for Sharia and not democracy. So Pakistan Awam won't rise against dictator. It's not that easy because the problem is in their agriculture and water and things like that. Yeah. Thank you for a wise answer. Yeah. Never be despondent. You have to work, look at 360 degrees. And many of these people will not change. They'll not run away. How will 250 million people, Pakistanis, run away? They'll be there. They'll remain a problem one way or the other. Yeah, good morning and Jai Hind. Thanks a lot. Good morning. Thanks a lot for your thing. Totally undemocratic by the failed field marshal. Yes, I agree with you. The irony is, USA knowing all this is supporting them. They have their own interests. So we have to look out to our interests. That's what I keep saying. My second question, sir, what if we highlight the happy lives of crores in India who choose not to go to Pakistan if it is spread? We must do that. Unfortunately, we don't have a narrative for that. And what you're saying is good. I might get a few Muslims and get them to speak about life in India vis-a-vis life in Pakistan. General Garu, what is Iran's calculations with Pakistan? We'll talk of this separately. I don't think. I think Shabaz Sharif and Bibi will not get this 27. No, no, they'll do it. Uh, that they're not bothered. Yeah, they will do it. I see more of India's defense experts talk about Pak breaking. I see Pak is getting more worldwide support. Will Pak ever break, or is it in? That's the point. That's the point we have to discuss. You want to break Pak? It cannot be done militarily. You want to defeat Pakistan militarily? You are uniting Pakistan. You want to let Pakistan break, you have to break internally. And the way it can internally break is you back off. You back off militarily and advance politically. This is something which people don't understand. Anime is a small market in India. Okay. An absolute gem of a move by Munir that will benefit Bharat. Along with IWT and Afghanistan, let's hope this move will send Pakistan to its eventual destiny. Let's hope so. To know this worst amendment, he will never get respect in Pakistan. It doesn't matter. You have to think like him, please. So, what about our democratic institutions? They are not crumbling, okay? They're not crumbling. This is an extreme way of thinking. Any democracy will have its problems. They will get influenced by politics. Politics will get influenced by judiciary. That's a triangle. Police, ये वो. But ये normal है यार. हमारा देश ना काफी आगे बढ़ चुका है. Yeah, Hiranmay is Isor. Good morning, Japan, India, and has a joint endeavor to create sixth generation fighter. We'll talk of it later. They say nothing is happening about it. Yeah, noted. Don't unite Pakistan by military action against Pakistan army. Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot for joining in. I hope you people had a good time, good idea of what's happening in Pakistan. Join Ghana Shot, like this video. We'll join back in the evening and we'll talk of nuclear affairs in the three good generals with P Gurus. Till then, till 8 o'clock, Jai Hind and enjoy the